So this is where I'd usually say how you been, but we've got a guest. It's been a while. Hey Gerry, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's been a while. I think last time we had you
It's like a
on
year ago,
was
I think.
it was episode 108, and this
Oh
is
yeah,
going
I
to be
forgot that you have all of your. Do you just have those episodes printed there so that you can look in reference, or is it like I understand it's for looks and it's really fucking cool that you have that on your wall and that you have, uh, for the listeners out there, Bill has a wall full of every episode clip art, and that's pretty wild. Yeah, that's
yeah.
that's insane. But I feel like there's an ulterior motive to this. I feel like it's just easy for you to go, and that was on episode
So I will
5.
say it is very convenient, but I will say this was also a gift from my mother when I moved
Oh,
into my house.
word to your mother.
um, it only currently goes up to episode 125, but eventually we'll get the rest of them all put together so we can have the full because we're almost at 200 episodes, which is
That's
insane.
That's crazy.
crazy.
I can't. I don't believe you when you say that. I feel
200
like there
is
hasn't
a
been that
is a
many.
big number.
Well, it's funny because Alex only lives through the GNC stuff, but then me and Gerry are both masochists who are on 3 podcasts each. So, um,
Yeah.
and speaking of that,
It's
last
so
time
hard.
I
Time.
know
I don't know how you do it.
I don't either. But speaking of that, last time we talked, you were only the host of Super
Super Ghost
Ghost
Radio.
Radio.
Yeah.
Do you want to shout out your other 2 shows now?
Nah. No, I'm just kidding.
Yep.
No thanks.
Nah, I don't like that. I don't like those other ones. I gotta do those ones with Aaron from SuperPod Saga. Yeah. So just recently we announced that I am now the co-host of SuperPod Saga with Aaron. And Aaron and I got silly and thought it would be a good idea to start yet another podcast, Retro Rehab, that's focused on all things retro. So yeah, we are masochists at heart, I think.
We just like having our shows to talk about different things with people. See, what's
Yeah.
funny is I have like 3 very different co-hosts, then you have 2 shows with Aaron.
I know. And like at the time of this recording, we're recording Super Ghost tonight, and Greg is on vacation, so it's me and Beth. But Aaron's gonna hop on, and if for some reason Beth is like, "Oh, I don't feel good, I'm sick," it's just gonna be another Aaron and Gerry adventure on a different fucking stream.
I mean, the best is still when we did the SuperPod special. Everyone go check that out on the SuperPod Network YouTube channel, by the way. It was literally a double date between you and Aaron and me and Thrak. It was like the funniest thing ever.
It was a double date, yeah. There was candles.
Ooh.
I mean, you didn't see it because the camera's cut too quick, but we all popped we popped those tops off right after that recording ended.
Oh yeah.
Like those tops came off.
We were like Funko Fusion, yes.
Yeah.
But before we get off the rails, Alex, you just had quite the adventure.
Oh yeah, I was in Texas for like 5 days. I spent roughly like 2 days in Dallas, and then the rest of the time in Waco. Yeah, it was pretty fun. I competed at the national competition for Irish dance. And I recalled for the first time, which is all I wanted. So now I checked that box off the list, and I don't want to go to nationals again. It's too stressful.
Hell yeah. How many times did you hear I'll tell you what? Please tell me at least once.
I definitely heard it a couple of times. Definitely did.
I'll tell you what, that girl can dance.
Yeah, everyone was really nice down there. Didn't run
I've
into
heard that.
any problems or anything. It was really fun. And my 2 really good friends also recalled as well, and we'd all been kind of training and working together, so it was really exciting.
Hey,
There
so certified layman here. You want to explain to me in layman terms what the fuck recall means?
Oh, it means so like so basically like you dance 2 rounds. Everyone will dance 2 rounds, and then there's a third round, and only 50% of the competition makes it to that third round. So in order to do that third round and recall, you got to be like the best of your best. And I didn't dance my very best that day, so I was really happy to recall. I mean, I was just happy to recall. I didn't really care about how I came in. I know I could have done a lot better, but I was very happy because it was the first time I took a medal home from nationals. So I was really excited.
That's cool as hell. Congratulations.
Thank you. Then we went to Waco, and Waco was really fun. they made Dr. Pepper there, which I didn't realize. There was a museum, so we got to see creepy Dr. Pepper man. There was a wax figure, and he was
There's a
scary.
man.
He was scary. He was in
That
a
sounds
glass
like a
box.
fucking. That sounds like a sleep paralysis demon. Oh,
I
watch
have
out
a
for Dr.
picture.
Pepper Man.
I'll put him on. I'll put him in the server.
Either that or like
Gallery.
either that or it's like a Hideo Kojima character. Hi, I'm Dr. Pepperman.
Alex, just find like a creepy photo of it and just put it in one of the SuperPod Saga channels, just completely randomly,
Okay.
no context, and then just
Can
leave it.
do. I will do that. I'll find the photo I took of him. But yeah, he's in a little glass box, and then our mom was like, "Take a picture of him." I'm like, "No, I'm not taking a picture with the creepy guy in a box. No, thank you." Yeah, but it was fun. But I'm glad to be back. Pooh is in the window still. She didn't miss me at all.
Oh, this is an animal. I thought like you came
No.
home to shit in your window, and I was like, that's not great.
No. Yeah. For those who don't know, I talk to the cat. Her name's Pooh. So when I say Pooh, I'm referring to the
I'm
cat
glad I'm
in
up
the
to speed
window.
now.
You're
That you
welcome.
don't live in some dystopian fucking city
Where
where you just come home and it's like, there's shit on the windows again. Shit
Well,
on the windows again.
She doesn't do that in the window, but she does like lick the windows for some reason.
I would hope she doesn't shit in the window. She can be a window licker all she likes.
Thankfully, she shits in the box, not the window.
Oh yeah, that's the
but
best place
she
for a
is
shit, I think.
a little shit. She screamed at Bill all the time, right, Bill?
Yeah, when I went to go feed her, I just walk in, open the door, and I just hear this cat screaming at me. I'm like, oh, she's hungry again.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
You did hear the inhuman noise that she makes too when she has to be put into her carrier to go somewhere. It was great. So I'm glad I wasn't the only person who experienced it. It was like a human scream. It's scary. Right?
It's like one of those Peruvian fucking death flutes or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or no, not Peruvian. It's like an Aztec thing, right? The Aztec death flute.
Yes.
Or death horn. You just breathe into it and it's like, ah! Like it sounds like someone's screaming. Like it's insane.
Yep. Well, Alex was enjoying that. I was up here in New England where it rained every single day.
Oh yeah, rain's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not up here. We've had too much rain, honestly, and like it's now we're just kind of waterlogged. But yeah, it was raining and muggy out, so it was just kind of like gross. And I had literally every one of my bills hit me at once at the end of this month, so I have no money. So I've been literally just like, I was like, I'm just doing nothing this entire weekend, and I just sat home and watched anime all day.
Those nice living in Connecticut bills
Yeah.
are great.
Oh man. But yeah, other than that, you guys been playing anything recently or?
Sure have. And it's gonna fit right into this episode. Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Oh yes.
Nice.
Yes. And I will say before we get started here, Alex, again, I just want to congratulate you on your dance thing. And that is the last time I'm going to be nice to you on this because the last time we ended off, you slighted the N64.
Yes, I should. As it deserves.
We're gonna hash this out today. I will make you a believer by the end of this.
No. I'm sorry, but I've played it and it just was not fun. We haven't done our retry though, where Bill got a different controller that may make me like it, but I don't know. I'm feeling doubtful.
We'll also have a proper game room, and we won't be in your apartment with a box like full of N64 games that I could carry at the time.
Well, I will say I'll just wish you good luck, but you're gonna need it because you're not gonna convince me that it's a good console.
At this point, we already have the N64 Defense Force building up, where we've got Dave from Remember 64, we've got Gerry, we've got Josh from Still Loading, we've got Quest 64.
I convinced Josh by the end of that day that the Jaguar was better.
Oh yeah, Gerry didn't hear.
Gerry
didn't hear the story about Retro World. So there was we had met up with Josh from Still Loading Podcast over at Retro World the previous year, and we were just hanging around the convention because the Retro World is basically like a giant like swap meet for gamers. And we had found this one booth that literally was selling a bunch of consoles, but they had one of the towers that had consoles on it literally had a Jaguar and an N64 just sitting next to each other. And I was like, I saw this and I'm like, oh, like this is interesting. So they both get into this like shtick, just basically being Alex is like, Jaguar is the best, and Josh is like, no, N64. And they were going back and forth. And the lady running the booth came over multiple times and just kind of like thought she was trying to like make a sale, but then she like just kind of stared at them, didn't know what to say, and then just walked away and then came back. And they were still going. And like, I'm just watching this entire thing, and I'm just like,
It went on for quite a while.
They're like, "Are you gonna buy anything?" You're like, "Nah, I just like your pretty consoles. I like your consoles, but just that console, not that one. That ugly flat one can go fuck itself."
yeah.
The one that looks like a turlet is the one I like.
Looks like a what?
Have you ever seen the photo of the Jaguar with the CD attachment on it?
Oh yeah,
it looks like a toilet. It's like one of the funniest console designs ever.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes.
And
Great
still,
console.
you think the N64? Oh wow.
Look, it is better in every way.
I understand the N64 was outsold by everything at that point in the console generation, but I feel like there's something about the N64 that's like different.
It is.
Like, I mean,
Stockholm syndrome is a thing.
I understand.
I've always
it was bad, and you've just accepted it's bad, but you're not gonna believe it.
Okay, here's what I'll ask, because let's make this very clear. If we walk away from this podcast today and you don't have a sliver of interest, or you're swaying at all in the other direction for the N64, we will have a third part of this episode. We will put you on trial.
Well, that'll be
your crimes.
That'll be N64 Revisited, where we bring in Dave, we bring in maybe I can get in Quest, maybe I can get Josh. I think Thrax on Alex's side, because of course he is.
Oh, if you bring in Quest 64 Mike, someone's getting roasted.
I finally met him, and he is a very nice man.
He is hilarious. I love Quest 64 Mike.
But that'll be I'm gonna have to like kidnap her and just like make her play N64 for an entire day. It's very easy to find her. You're right.
Wasn't the joke last time that you were just gonna waterboard her until she liked N64?
I'm gonna have to change the locks on my house.
It won't help.
No.
We'll find ways. Life finds a way.
No.
I will say, just to tie up this N64 discussion before we move on to other topics, I will say the N64, though, out of every console, like every popular console, I should say, seems to be seems to be the one console that has the most polarizing like split in its like fan base. Like, you don't get this split with like the PlayStation or even like the Xbox. Like in the Xbox,
dude, even the Saturn. Like even now, like have you noticed lately? People are like, "Hey, how come no one told us Sega Saturn kicks ass?" And it's like, dude, the Sega Saturn always kicked ass, just nobody fucking knew about it, really. Or like I did not grow up knowing one person that had a Saturn. Same. It was either PlayStation or N64. But now, like as an adult, I explore the Saturn library. I'm like, this system is amazing. There's so many good games on the Saturn.
Oh yeah, it is. Me and Alex had covered it earlier.
It's like the Jaguar.
I mean, I'll defend the Jaguar, because the Jaguar is. I mean, I'm the 3DO guy. I love obscure, crappy consoles from the 90s, but the Jaguar is an interesting console. It has some really good games. It's just you got to dig through some shit to find them.
Yeah, like that.
No.
What was that Penguin game you were talking about?
That's a great game. That is a great game.
Attack of the Mutant Penguins is actually
Teenage
really
Mutant Ninja Penguins.
Yeah.
No, it's a good game.
It's a tower defense that's surprisingly really good.
Boy.
Well,
don't knock it till you try it. I tried the N64, okay? So I can knock it.
I'll admit though, like that the little sub like section of games that you had to experience weren't very good, because I did not have we were struggling on time, and B, I only could bring so much stuff. And unfortunately, this is one thing I will say, a lot of the games that I really like for N64 are single player games, and it's really hard
Yeah.
to like pull out like the good multiplayer games, especially because Alex isn't a big
They
first
don't
person.
exist.
Well, you're not a first person shooter person, so it's like GoldenEye isn't going to do anything for you.
I'll tell you what's a really good co-op game to throw on that, I mean, it's not going to be on everybody's list, and I think that's probably a good thing because you probably have this expectation of like, okay, he's going to show me the Zelda and he's going to show me the Mario and he's going to show me the Mario Kart and the Mario Party and all those things, which is fine. But you should probably check out Goemon's Great Adventure because that
amazing
is
game.
a fantastic. It's a side scroller. So like, I don't know what you have against side scroller. Do you like a side scroller?
Probably a side scroller.
Okay, there. Okay, see, there we go. We're making progress.
Just now
If you, but what? But it's like you're so. Why I don't understand.
Controller. It's the controller. I don't like it.
So
I don't
with
like
Goemon's Great Adventure, you get to use the D-pad.
Can you throw the controller away and get a new one?
No,
So when we do the revisit, I got her one of those Hori pad. Like, it's not an official one; it's a second party one, but it's one of the ones that looks like an actual controller. So
yeah,
it
has
looks like an actual controller.
I mean,
so that's
like that.
that's the disconnect. The disconnect is the controller.
Yeah, I mean, I like the N64, but I will agree, I hate the controller. It's not my favorite by any means.
It's weird, for sure.
I mean, James Rolfe said it best. It was weird then, and it's weird now. So
yeah, like it's. I've told this story a million times, but like the first time I'd seen that controller, I was like, I don't even know what to do with this. Like, I don't know where to hold this. I don't know how to hold it. Didn't know what the purpose of any of it was. There were so many buttons, like C buttons. I was like, what does this mean? Like, what are these for? And there's like arrows on them and stuff. Like they're not actually like labeled. As a child, like I couldn't comprehend it. But as a child as well, within 5 minutes of picking it up and trying Mario 64, I got it. But I've seen people hold that controller
in the weirdest
super
ways.
weird. Oh my god. I've seen people just ham that thing up.
My favorite are the
do two controllers.
Oh yeah, the twin sticking it, because you can do that on certain games.
007 in GoldenEye, you can do that, yeah.
See, my favorite is like the people, like the hand stretchers who will have it. They'll hold it normally
across the D-pad,
and they'll just stretch their thumb over, and I'm just like, yeah, that's comfortable.
I had a friend, again, when we were kids, when our hands were tiny, do that, and it looked insane. It looked like he was like literally like had his whole hand like around trying to, like, you could just see like the strain marks across his thumb because he's just trying so hard to get that like wingspan. But yeah, it's a weird controller for sure. But if that's the only thing,
and Buck Bumble.
Okay, we can let Buck Bumble go. That was a joke that you just took to heart.
That was a terrible game.
Poor
You
Buck
play
Bumble.
horrible games. That song still lives in my brain, and I can't. It won't escape. It's always
beat to
there.
the buck to the bumble.
When Bill was living in my house, I used to like put my phone under his door and just start playing it in the mornings.
So did you hear about how Quest 64 Mike is on like a mission to try to find out who the singer was on that track, and nobody knows who he is. He has no credit. He's been on a mission for years to try to uncover who this man is, and all he has to go by is that he is apparently named DJ Cisco.
Huh.
That's it. That's all I got. So listeners out there that are listening to this episode, if you know the whereabouts, name, blood type, social security number of the man who sang in Buck Bumble, please reach out to someone, anyone. He's missed. We want to give him the credit. He needs his flowers.
No, we gotta get rid of. He's gone for a reason because that song's terrible.
Wow.
That's why he doesn't want to be found.
You should show Alex the Impact theme from Mystical Ninja 64. That's a good song.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I did show her the.
Yeah.
I did show her the opening to that game because it's literally an anime opening.
Yeah.
It's great.
That's what I'm saying. I find like Gomon games are an easy recommend for me because I don't know, they have that like charm and stuff, and every opportunity I can find to talk about Gomon, I'm gonna do it. And Alex, have you ever played any of the Gomon games?
Have I, Bill?
No, I showed her the intro to Mystical Ninja Go Star
maybe
Goemon.
Maybe it's Bill's fault because he didn't pick good games.
Look, at the time we did not have a great setup for that. Like I could only really
excuses.
I had to bring everything in a trunk at the time.
Is it Bill's fault you don't like the N64?
It might be, honestly.
Are the tables turning here?
Well, I think
it's the controller and Bill.
Honestly, I think the problem is mostly the controller, because a lot of her misery during that experience was she just hated the controller.
Yeah, I mean, you could just get one of those.
Hands hurt. I don't want to play it. That's
I was also really limited on game because we didn't have a lot of time, so I couldn't do like a Mario Party or a couple of the better like multiplayer games. I was kind of limited to like racers and fighting games, and unfortunately, fighting games on the N64 aren't amazing. And Alex doesn't like Smash Brothers; like it's just not her style of game.
There's three really good ones.
I see. The thing is like me and Bill. I really like fighting games.
Really,
so the fact that I'm just I'm like pretty good at them. I wouldn't say I'm great, but I always can beat Bill, which is always a plus for me. Right,
I also
Bill?
suck though. So.
Yeah, so it makes it more fun experience for me. So I like playing the fighting games, and then the N64 didn't have any, which is like my main draw on a lot of those.
I didn't have any at the time because I think the only one I had was Smash Brothers, and Smash Brothers is like the one fighting game Alex doesn't like. But to be fair, Smash Brothers is nothing like any fighting game.
No, I mean it is and it isn't.
I just can't. I get distracted too easily. I have squirrel brain, and I just can't keep track of who I am. So I can't play Smash because
there's two more fighting games on the N64 definitely worth checking out. Obviously, Killer Instinct Gold is a fantastic fighting game.
Oh, sorry.
Look, you broke your chair?
This is the second time it's happened.
Didn't you break your chair the last time we had Gerry on?
Maybe. I just broke
over here breaking chairs.
I was just like, I hate the N64. Rips chair arm off.
I didn't know. No, I literally didn't even do anything. Like I literally just leaned on it.
It's
and then
either that or this is her like nervous way out of this conversation where it's like, oh shit, he's trying to convince me good fighting games. Oh, my chair's broken. Oh, look at this. Look what happened to my chair.
If I want to escape, I have a standing desk, so I just raise it high and then hide under the desk. So that's my hide.
Why wouldn't you just disconnect the call?
Because this isn't how Alex works. She's got to be different about it.
I'm a weirdo. I thought you knew this already. Yeah, I'm really sad I broke my chair.
Well, I'm very, sad to hear that your chair is broken. But Killer Instinct Gold is fantastic, and so is Flying Dragon.
Flying Dragon. We talked
Flying
about this
Dragon
game.
Is super good, man.
It's like a fighting game with RPG elements. It is such a weird idea, but it's pretty good. I own both of those now, so hopefully when we finally get around to revisiting this.
All right. Well, maybe when we do the revisit, you ask the N64 Defense Force what games I should play, and then they can pick, and then I'll pick them, and then that's when I tell them that it still sucks.
It's going to be a hard battle, Gerry. It's going to be a very difficult battle.
When it still stinks, then they can't say, well, you didn't pick the right game. So there you go.
So here's what here's what we have to do. Here's what I'm thinking. What's your favorite controller?
I don't know. That we had a whole retrospective of controllers, and I didn't know what to say for half of it.
Well, because Alex likes to play handheld because, in her own words, she likes to have the screen 3 inches from her face.
Yes. So my favorite controller is the Joy-Con. I'm sorry. I can't see. I'm blind, even with my glasses.
The Joy-Cons? The Joy-Cons.
They're good I like them.
Alex
They-
is
I
just
can put
briefing
them right
everybody.
Put them right on the the Switch, and then I can just play it with the screen right there. It's great. I can bring it wherever I want to go.
The
That
Joy-Cons.
PlayStation one.
That's the one. That's the winner. The Joy-Cons. Over
So-
the N6, over Super Nintendo controller, even. Okay. All right. That's. I mean,
Well, I like the Jaguar controller too. That one.
okay. Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, she
That
loves to
sounds
push.
about right.
She likes to push. Yeah, she likes to push all 12 buttons that don't do anything.
Like the next thing she's gonna say is, you know what's a really underrated control scheme? The
you
Nokia
know-
N-Gage. Now
you know
that
what-
control scheme I like.
You know what else? What is really nice? The spoon from the CDI.
You've never held one of those in your
I
life.
wish
You're just
I
saying
could.
it because
I
it's.
Spoon?
wish I could. It's like shaped
Oh.
like a spoon.
Have you seen? So the CDI has a controller that literally looks
Oh,
like a
right.
spoon.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
a
yeah.
ladle.
Yeah.
That seems like a really nice controller.
Yeah, does it?
It
I-
does. It seems great.
Okay.
Low key though, I do
Or
want an
this one
N-Gage
works
someday.
really well too. Just the
A mouse?
mouse and keyboard. You know, like when I play the Sims.
Well, do I have good news for you?
What?
You can play N64 with a mouse and keyboard.
I
Alex just like does not compute.
oh wait, isn't that the oh no. Uh-oh.
I just hear like the dial-up tone.
Oh, no, window just opened up and I don't know what I did. An internet window opened up.
Oh boy, now she's getting under her desk.
I'm scared.
All right.
All right.
Well, before Alex
so
breaks
long.
breaks the podcast any farther, let's move on from the N64 now. Um,
Bye.
so, oh god, she is actually disappearing.
Bill, you need to make this a video episode.
Oh, it will be. It will be. Oh god, how far is she go? She's gonna knock her computer desk over, and this is gonna be the end of the podcast.
I'm sorry. Now
So
I
while
gotta
she-
get back.
This is what I put up with every week.
Not every week.
I love how you can hear it's like moving down.
But I think I can pick it up. Oh, there we go. Slowly getting back.
It's like she's just ascending from like the depths of like N64 hell now.
It's like when like a news anchor has like that sweeping shot where it's like, "Hello, I am Alex for 5 o'clock news. This just in, I fucking love the Joy-Cons. I hate the N64. Back over to you, Bill."
So let's move on now from that. I believe at the end of the last episode we kind of left off around the 5th generation of consoles, and we didn't really get into like PS2 onward, I believe. So where would you guys like to start?
Dealer's choice. I mean, PS2 is a fantastic console. I could talk all day long about the PS2.
I say maybe let's talk about the PS2 because it did kind of steamroll this entire generation.
Yeah, pretty much.
A little bit.
But look, I do have a lot of love for some of the other ones in that console generation. But like, yeah,
it is
the PS2 just fucking dominated.
It is a great generation, but it is the literal console generation definition of a curb stomp. Like the gap between PS2's up here, Xbox is down here, GameCube's down in the pits of hell down there because it didn't sell that well at all. Poor Dreamcast didn't have a chance. Yeah, PS2 though. So I have to ask, were you like one of the many people who got a PS2 and it was mostly a DVD player at first? Or did you actually buy it for games right away?
No, I got it for games. When I got mine, it was Christmas, and I got Tony Hawk 4, I think was the one that I got with that one, and then Vice City. Those were like the two big ones.
So it was actually kind of funny. We had I was talking PS2 with my my co-host Matt over on Geek Addicts a while back, and one of the things he had brought up was he had mentioned that he had gotten a copy of ATV Off-Road Fury 2 with his PS2, and he was like, that was pretty much the launch title everyone had. And then he asked me, what launch title did I get? And my response was, it was a whole bunch of nothing, because original PS2s, you got shit for like a launch title.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like,
You get that Fantavision,
we didn't get anything. Like
that fireworks simulator.
The original PS2's legit, you got nothing for like pack-ins. You literally got a console. It was like, have fun.
Yeah, there was
Buy some
nothing
games.
for a bit.
Yeah, honestly, PS2, like when you look at console launches, like PS2's launch wasn't that great. Like it was pretty nothing, but it had a DVD player, and DVD players were expensive at the time, so everyone bought one.
Yeah. Yep. I'm trying to remember, because PS2 was around the time where I started to like kind of buy games out of my own money, like money that I had a better sense of money then. And I realized that like, oh shit, some of these are expensive. And then like some of them were cheap, but like sometimes I felt like the majority of the ones that I wanted were always super expensive. But I'll never forget, I have a really cool memory with the PS2. I had a tailbone surgery when I was like, I want to say 16-ish. And I remember getting out of it because it was just like a day surgery, but I was like fucked up on morphine and shit. And I just remember my parents being like, "Do you want anything like before we go back home? Like, do you want any McDonald's or some shit?" And I was like, "I want video games. That's what I want." And they were like, "Okay, checks out. You're gonna be on your stomach for the next 2 months. So yeah, let's go get you some video games." And I fucking shuffle my way into this GameStop, and I'm like blasted on morphine. And the guy's like, "Hey, how's it going?" I'm like, "I want scary games, man." And he's like, "Huh?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, I want some scary games." And for whatever reason, I ended up picking up Siren, which is one of the most unnerving games on the PS2. And I also picked up Drakengard, which wasn't a scary game, but I was just like, this looks cool. Look at this guy in the front. He's cool.
It's got dragons and shit.
Yeah, that game, not that good, but I mean, it was okay at the time. But I just remember like laying in bed on my stomach playing Siren, and it being like one of the most terrifying experiences ever. And like I couldn't like look away because I'm like on my stomach playing, like my arms are hanging over like the edge of the bed, and it was awful but amazing at the same time.
Siren is one of those games where it was very early in like the PS2. So Siren, fun fact, was made by the guy that was partially responsible for Silent Hill. And that was such an early point in like 3D graphics for these kind of games. They didn't really know how to do like human models yet. So Siren has some of the most uncanny, unnerving, like
it's
human
weird
models.
Man.
Like, because they're like pre-rendered kind of, but also 3D.
They did like essentially they just did the same thing that like Rare did with GoldenEye, like where they took real people's faces and just stuck them on polygons. But like with Siren, I guess where it was like a generational step, they did the same thing, but also just kind of like had the polygons like move with the like it was. I don't know how they really did, because I don't know if it was a mocap thing or what it was, but like even now going back and playing that, like I threw that on like last month, and I was like, this game, man, this still is like pretty like not a good time for your nerves.
It's weird because I don't think it's scary as much as it's just like unsettling and kind of unnerving.
Yeah, it's just like you're constantly like, I don't feel good about what's happening right now. And like, yeah, there's not a lot of like jump scares, really. Like, that's not what that game is aiming to do, is to do like the loud jump scare stuff. It's more of just like the atmosphere is just, like just, it's crazy. And how good it stands up even now. I'm surprised that they haven't. Well, I guess that was, I think, Japan Studios.
It was Team Siren, which was based off. So it was a studio within Japan Studios. It later became Team Gravity, and they made the Gravity Rush games.
They did? I didn't know that.
Same Steam. It's actually kind of interesting, but they made three Siren games. We never got the second one. The second one's legitimately terrifying. Like, that game is fucking nuts.
Siren 2?
Yeah, Forbidden Siren, Siren 2, whatever it's called.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that one only released in Europe. I think.
Europe and Japan, I believe.
Yeah,
And
but I've heard that it's like insane. I should.
it's
Yeah,
it's
I should try
legitimately terrifying. And then we also got a remake of one called Siren, like Blood Money or something,
blood,
or
blood money,
blood something.
50
I don't
Cent, blood in the sand. It's the Siren Blood Curse. It was in
blood,
like
blood, yeah,
episode.
blood money. Yeah,
Yeah.
blood money. Um,
That was on PS3, and that was in
it,
like it was like an episodic thing.
it,
That was very scary.
Europe got a complete physical edition, which of course they didn't. We didn't because they fucking hate us over here. But
I know.
yeah, apparently that one's not as good though.
Yeah, like I feel like some of the episodes, like the one where you're playing as like the little girl, and I think it's in a hospital. Holy shit, that
Yeah.
one is rough. But some of them are just kind of like, it's whatever. But funny enough, I have not played Siren 2, so I've always wanted to go and try that one out. So I think I might have to throw that on one soon-ish. But I kind of want to beat Siren because I've never beat Siren either. So I kind of want to beat that first.
So
And then, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say what's kind of funny is like I was thinking back on like what the first thing we put in our PS2 was, and we didn't have games right away. So I vividly remember the first thing Alex watched in a PS2 was a Sailor Moon DVD.
Yes. What else would you watch? What else would you put?
So
I just
I love Sailor Moon. I fucking love Sailor Moon. I have
Wonderful.
I have
Wonderful.
memories of, and here's the thing. I feel like there was a stigma when we were like I was a child. You know, this is a long time ago. That, you know, if you watch Sailor Moon, like it was almost like, you know, boys are watching Transformers and fucking
Power
Mummies
Rangers.
Alive and Power Rangers and shit like this. And it's like, you watch Sailor Moon? I'm like, do you understand how fucking badass Sailor Moon is? Like, are you guys not watching the same thing I'm watching? Because what would happen was I would go home for lunch in like, I think it was like grade 4. And when I would go home for lunch, like the only thing on was Sailor Moon. There was 2 episodes back to back on my lunch break. Everything else was like fucking the Maury Povich show and like The Price is Right and shit like that. And I'm like, I don't want to watch that while I'm eating my pizza pockets, man. I want to watch some cartoons. So Sailor Moon was the only thing. But dude, Sailor Moon is awesome.
Yes.
I fucking love Sailor Moon. I still know the Sailor Venus, Sailor Mercury. It's still in there, living rent free.
Good. Did
I
you
wa-
ever
I wa-
watch the reboot?
No,
No. It's probably for the best. I would keep, if you haven't watched it or like read the manga, then just keep watching the original. Don't watch the reboot.
I will not watch the reboot.
Yeah, because
Fair
the
enough.
original is great, but the reboot had some good things too. But it also had some terrible 3D animation. And then
Speaking of terrible 3D animation, boy, were there some stinkers on the PS2.
Oh yeah, it was.
You don't get a library that big without a few missteps.
Yeah,
I feel
people.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say people underestimate just how big the PS2's library is.
It's so big, man. And like I
It
feel
was
like
a
that
long period of time where it was out.
Well, yeah,
even
because
like the PS1 was kind of like that turning point of like, oh, there's a lot of licensed games coming out now. Then the PS2 was like,
we
hold
owned
my
all of them.
fucking beer. Let me show you what a lot of licensed games look like. Some of them are okay, but my God, every Pixar movie, every fucking DreamWorks movie, like every like no-name studio movie, everything got a PS2 game.
Yes.
it's funny because games were so cheap to make back then. They just pumped these things out left and right now, and then we get to like HD, and they're like, "Fuck, games are expensive. We can't make this shit anymore."
I know, like
No more license.
man.
Very rare.
But yeah,
Which is
have you ever like, so I mean, Bill, you probably remember this kind of thing, you know, going to a video store or like, you know, going to a GameStop to go buy a game. And back then you didn't really have a lot to go by other than the back of the fucking game or like a magazine screenshot, right? Like that's all you had to go by. So do you, because I definitely have something. Like, do you ever remember a time where you're like, oh man, this looks super dope, and then you bring it home and you're like, this game sucks?
So I'm not gonna say super dope, but I did buy the Finding Nemo game, and my god, that was a mistake on so many levels.
Super dope. Finding Nemo.
Keep in mind, everybody, like when PS2 came out, me and Alex were, so it came out in 2000. We were 5 and 4 respectively.
Oh, cool. And then I just reduced to dust.
Yeah, we were children.
Also,
so
probably too, you probably could have picked up one that seems a lot cooler, and then mom probably would have been like, no, you're not buying that game.
No. And here's the reason why we got Finding Nemo, because it was heavily discounted. I wonder why.
Ooh, I don't even remember you playing that game.
Because I played it for 5 minutes and was like, this sucks. The load times are worse than Sonic 06. Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah, I remember.
Sorry,
I
Mom.
actually remember. What game was it? Because I used to buy a lot of like used games from GameStop, and I remember picking up. It might have been Code Veronica, and I got home, and I like pop it open. Didn't pay attention to the disc. Pop it in, and I'm like, what the hell is this? There's like these little penguins and shit on the screen. I'm like, what game is this? It was Disgaea 3 or 4 or something like that. Like it was, yeah, somebody had put a Disgaea game in.
I mean, you kind of got an upgrade there.
Well,
depending on who you ask.
Like those, I gotta fix my chair now. I don't think those games are bad or anything. That's not my kind of game.
True. Like you're the horror guy. Like I am I love goofy RPGs, so if I got Disgaea, I'd be like, fuck yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember if I know it was a horror game. I don't know if it might have been Resident Evil Code Veronica, or it might have actually, you know what it might have been? It might have been Silent Hill 2. Because I remember
that's tragic.
Yeah, because I remember it being a very big letdown. And then when I went back, they were like, no, like you definitely just I was like, dude, this is how I got it. Like this is how it was. But the other thing is too, like kind of speaking about RPGs with Disgaea, there's a lot of really cool RPGs on the PS2. And I feel like a lot of people kind of dismissed it because it didn't have, I mean, the absolute spectacle of RPGs on the Super Nintendo and the PS1. It was just like one after the other and like even the ones that were like mediocre back then by those standards, even now, like you throw them on and you're like, why was nobody talking about all these other ones? But I feel like there's a lot on PS2 that nobody talks about either. Like one of my favorite ones is Rogue Galaxy. Have you played that?
I've played it. Alex, I'm pretty sure she's like, this is not her forte for games at the moment.
It's by level 5.
If I have, Phil would know.
She hasn't played Rogue Galaxy. She might actually like it though, because it does have some One Piece-esque vibes to it.
Ooh.
Oh, it's pretty anime. Like it's definitely that, and it's like it's an action RPG, and it's got a really fun combat, and like you run around with like 2 party members following you, and part of the reason why I even discovered that game was even as far back as the PS2, I was searching the internet for quote unquote games like Secret of Mana, and that was one of them. It was, people were like, this is basically 3D Secret of Mana, because you get there's a bunch of characters that you can get, but you always have 2 following you, and you can switch between them like whenever you want and use their abilities and stuff. It's really good. It's pretty long, but it's a really good game.
It was honestly a better Mana game than the Mana game that came out on PS2.
Yeah, I know. Dawn of Mana is okay.
It's weird because it's like it's a decent game, but it's just not a Mana game.
No, it definitely. I mean, after Legend of Mana, things just kind of went in the shitter for that series. But here's hoping Visions of Mana for me is like day one. That's a day one. I'm playing that shit. Like I might be sick that day for work, kind of thing.
We didn't hear it here.
Yeah, you sure did. I'll put it out there in the universe. I don't care. But
so
yeah,
I was gonna say another famous thing from the PS2 that we should bring up. Did you experience the iToy?
no,
You never experienced the wonders of the iToy.
Oh,
I did not.
what a shame.
I remember wanting one, but never ever hands on
Bill
one.
has two.
I have two
Oh,
because
God.
one was Alex's because we got two of
Why
them for
we
some
had
reason.
two, I don't know, since we
Well,
shared the same TV.
What happened was our mother had bought the bundles because they had like these bundle sets, and I got the iToy anti-grav game developed by Harmonix of all fucking companies. Think about that one for a minute. Yeah. The
Oh.
rhythm game guys made a hoverboard racing game. And then Alex got the iToy Groove, which was like this very typical. No offense to our mother, but it was the very typical. I have daughter. What game would she like? This one's pink with dancing. That one.
If it was pink, it was usually bought for me. Any of the Barbie games, oh yeah, all of them.
She played it once and never touched it again, and she was more interested in Sega Superstars, which was the best iToy game in my opinion because it was all Sonic games, well Sega games. Like there was a Crazy Taxi game, which was literally you just have to jump around like a fucking psychopath, and that's how you get points.
Really?
Yeah, it is. At least I think that's what you were supposed to do. It was very unclear. The iToy is really funny to me because it is literally the Kinect before the Kinect. It didn't work for shit, and honestly, the Kinect, the Kinect really didn't either. But I was like, because I remember when I saw the Kinect and everyone was hyping it up, they were all like, "Oh yeah, this is the future. Microsoft is showing their prowess," and I'm like, Sony tried this already and it sucked. like did we forget about the iToy that fast?
Yes.
I will say the Kinect was at least a bit more functional, but it still wasn't good.
Yeah, the iToy did not work at the time. Did not work.
And then they kept going with it. PlayStation was like, "Now let's try it again. Let's try it again on the PS fucking 3. Now let's try it again on the PS4. And let's do it again on the PS5. Let's just keep trying it. Let's keep trying it. But the PS Vita, now put that thing in the garbage. We don't want that. We don't want that thing. But let's keep trying out cameras and shitty technology."
Yeah. The Vita, they're like, "Oh yeah, let's throw out this handheld that's really awesome and impressive." Oh, what? We have to actually make games for it? Fuck that. Like, what? RPG fans aren't going to carry it this time? Fuck. Throw it away. It's useless.
R.I.P.
Vita.
PS Vita. What a console.
Oh man. Yeah, PS2 was nuts though. Like legit, like it ran all the way until like I think it was officially discontinued 2016.
Yeah, it was something crazy. Like it was like a running joke because people were like, "Are they ever gonna just like say, hey, we're done with the PS2?" And then finally, it wasn't even that long. It was like 8 years ago or something.
Yeah, it was still going. Like when they discontinued, I was like, "Oh, they're still making them." That's neat.
The only thing that was getting put on those was like other licensed games and like
sports games,
Madden games. Yeah,
I think the last game came out in 2014, and I believe it was a soccer game.
Sounds about right. That sounds super right.
It's just so funny when you think about how good that console sold, and I'm convinced a fraction of the actual total PS2 sold never played a game in their entire life.
Yeah.
No, they were just DVD players.
Yeah.
Because they were cheaper than some, you know.
So I've said it before, like we lived in a very Nintendo heavy like neighborhood. Like, because I swear I was like the one kid that had a PS2 for gaming at the time. Because like everyone had like a GameCube or like there was the rare Xbox owner. But I always remember like I'd go over their house and I'd see the PS2 on the shelf. I'm like, "Oh, PS2, you got any games?" And they're like, "Oh no, that's just our DVD player." I feel like
I knew people like that too. Yeah,
it was funny. Like it's amazing how like that console literally came out at the perfect time and just dominated.
But I will say this: as much as I love the PS2, this console generation my heart belongs to the GameCube.
The GameCube was good. It's funny to me that people
Better
forget.
than the N64, for sure.
Anyways,
I had to.
what to me the thing with this era too is a lot of people forget the PS2 was like technically the weakest console, not counting the Dreamcast. It's not fair to really critique the Dreamcast for any of this
Poor
stuff.
Dreamcast.
Dreamcast is just in the corner, like, hey,
Hey.
tried.
Throw some respect on the Dreamcast.
I'm saying, it's a good. I like the Dreamcast.
I'm pretty
I
sure
like the Dreamcast.
retrospectively everybody loves the Dreamcast just because it is like literally the little console that tried so hard.
Yeah, he's the little engine that could.
He's the little engine that couldn't.
That
Unfortunately.
couldn't.
He's the little engine that could play burned off CDs and then eventually crash the company.
He's the little engine that like this thing is great. What's this? DVDs? Fuck this shit. Like it's bad when Sega was like, if you sign up for our internet service, we'll give you one. What? You still don't want it? Okay. You know what killed the Dreamcast?
Bill.
Do you remember the
You did.
No, I didn't. But did you ever see one of the autographed Fred Durst Dreamcasts?
Get the fuck out of here right now.
You can find these on eBay. Fred Durst signed so Fred Durst had like a partnership with SegaNet, and he was a big Dreamcast guy apparently. But there is a bunch of signed Fred Durst Dreamcasts that you can buy, and it is like the weirdest thing. And I always joke because some people are like, that kind of kills the value of it, and I'm like, fuck you.
Hey. Let's see. Where can I buy one? Wonder if I type this into Google and hit shopping.
Oh, I'm sure you'll find one. The Fred Durst autographed Dreamcast.
I see there's articles about it, but I don't actually see any. But I need this. I need this Dreamcast.
Yeah.
How wild would it be to have? Yeah, that's the picture that I was looking at too.
Kind of see it there. Him just autographing Dreamcast, like 1,000 Dreamcasts.
I need that Dreamcast. Oh my god.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Fred Durst, if anyone living under a rock, Fred Durst, the lead singer of Limp Bizkit, he's kind of a meme.
Yeah. I will say this though, I unironically like Limp Bizkit.
Oh, their new album was great. I don't care what anyone says.
That album was fucking amazing. I love how they they're playing into the whole like, oh, you guys like to hate us? And then it's like their album's called Still Sucks. So if you read it out as Limp Bizkit, Still Sucks.
Sucks. And the lead single was Dad Vibes, and it is like one of the best songs they've put out in a long time.
Yeah, it's super good. And their videos too have been really good for this album and stuff. Like I hope that they keep going. And like it's cool to see them now again on tour selling out fucking stadiums and shit. Because people are like, you know what? Yeah, it was kind of a meme to like hate on Limp Bizkit, but now people are like, you know what? I kind of miss Limp Bizkit.
Well, I mean, I get it because Fred Durst kind of has a punchable face, and like you kind of want to hate him.
Kind of a douchey dude, yeah. He's actually like I watched. I think it was an interview with him with Bill Maher, and he was like super nice and chill and like well spoken. And I was like,
oh, he's an incredibly intelligent dude.
Yeah, and like doesn't drink, doesn't smoke. Like he was just like, yeah, man. Like all the things that people think about him are like not true. And he was like, we started making music like the Limp Bizkit music for people to rebel against like the jocks and shit. And he was like, and then I look down and I see all these jocks screaming our lyrics, and he was like, fuck.
We messed up.
Yeah. Oh boy. But going back over to GameCube because I don't want to.
Speaking of Limp Bizkit,
GameCube is literally like the console that I envied as a kid. Because I mean, ironically, PS2 was the better option in reality, just in terms of game library.
Yeah,
but the GameCube had so many amazing games.
Oh man, so many. And like, dude, I'll never forget. I was so like, nope, I got my PS2. I'm good to go. And my other friend had a GameCube, and I remember one time he was like really hype about this game that was coming out, and he was picking it up, and I was like, yeah, man, I'm still not sold on it. Like that, I don't know. That doesn't seem like a good game to me. With no like I just was not basing this on anything other than the fact that I was like all in on PS2. And then another game comes out and he's like, dude, like you got to see this game. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. He's like, you know what? Next time I come over, I'm bringing it. And I was like, you're going to unhook your, and he was like, dude, it's so small. So another fun fact, GameCube was really fun to just grab. It had a fucking handle, for Christ's sake.
Yep.
Like you could literally just bring it to your friend's house, wrap the cords around it, and just hold it with the handle. Like,
only
way
it
you
had
go.
some Joy-Cons. That would have been.
I will say though, like I always pictured like bringing the console to a friend's house back in the day. You got the GameCube people are all flexing their lunchbox, and you got the Xbox fans lugging this fucking behemoth around with their two
massive,
with their Duke controllers, which are just about as big as the GameCube. Yeah. I mean, granted, PS2 wasn't very portable either. So
no, it was just an awkward brick, like a multi-layered brick. But yeah, the game, like, so he finally comes over with this GameCube, and he hooks it up, and he's like, "All right, I'm showing you these two games because you've been hating on them for no reason." So he pops in Metroid Prime.
Oh, nice.
It was like an almost immediate physical reaction of like, this looks good. This is, oh shit, this looks real good, man. And then he was like, so the other game that you've been hating on for so long, Wind Waker. Because I was like, that's not my Zelda. I don't want no cartoony Zelda. Get that out of my life. And he left my house, and I went to my parents' house. Like, how could I have a GameCube? I want a GameCube right now. And they were like,
no.
Well, your birthday's coming up, but how expensive is it? I was like, doesn't matter to your wallet. I must have this.
You must have lunchbox.
You know, I still will say though, like people always like, I know like retrospectively now everyone loves Wind Waker, but back in the day, like people always crapped on it. And my favorite thing to point out was like that Wind Waker has literally the most expressive Link in the entire series, like personality wise, like
100%. And what's crazy is that art style still holds up now.
Oh yeah,
like, it still looks really, really good. Even if you play on the original GameCube, not even the remaster, it just looks fucking good.
Like I will say, like from this, like the Gen 6, like this era, literally was like the start of cell shading. Like because even going back to the Dreamcast, Jet Grind Radio still looks good even today.
It does. Yeah.
And it's not the greatest game. I like it, but it's definitely a very like niche kind of game. But it looks amazing. Like cell shading has held up so well. The Sly Cooper series for PlayStation 2, like those games
cell shaded?
Oh yeah. Like Sly
I didn't know that.
1, 2, and 3. There was a ton of cell shading. Like it's just such a unique look that just holds up so much better than like the hyper realistic stuff. Like
because I feel like if you could do it right, it just looks like cartoons, and it's like it's just like a good style. But so yeah, I 100% agree. And yeah, going back and looking at Wind Waker now, it still looks awesome to me. Like it hasn't aged. Like it's just like, I mean, if you know you don't have the proper TV or setup to play something on GameCube, like you know, it looks amazing running through like an upscaler. I've seen like GameCube running through like a RetroTing 4K with like it getting upscaled to 4K and then adding like the scanline filters and stuff. It looks insane. I would say like that's I like that crispness of that look, but I mean if you're adverse to that, then I mean you could check out the HD remake, and it looks fantastic. It's so good. But yeah, I hated on cell shading and like that cartoony look for so long until I actually put my hands on Wind Waker, and I was like, oh, never mind. I get this now. This is something else.
It's a good game.
it's kind of funny because the one thing I will give the Zelda fan base is they are consistent, because Alex knows about this game because like this is actually a rare Zelda game she played, but years later down the line, they did the same thing with the Link's Awakening remake with the really like cartoony kind of art style. And the fans threw a bitch fit over it, and I'm like, this looks great. What are you talking about?
Well, back to that one video, Jeff Gerstmann on Giant Bomb, like losing his mind. He was like, "This is why we can't have nice things, okay? Because you guys are out there, you're worried about, oh, I want my Link to be a wolf, and I want to be out there, and I want to fuck like a wolf." And it's like, this is why we can't have nice things, because as soon as they change something like that, people bitch, and I'm guilty of it. I've been in that boat where I'm like, don't like the look of that.
No, yeah.
But yeah, I'm much more open to the
Mhm.
look and style of things these days. Same thing with that new Zelda that got announced. The one where you
Oh,
play
the
as Princess Zelda.
Yeah.
A
Yeah,
lot of
they-
people were like, "What the fuck are they doing? Like they're making you play as Zelda? What the fuck? This is..." And I'm like, you know what? I shit on Zelda so many times for them doing weird things like Wind Waker's art style, Phantom Hourglass's control scheme with the stylus. I shit on that, and then when I finally picked it up and played it, I was like, "Oh, never mind. I get it." Like
Mm.
Nintendo has a way of, like, I don't know, it- they they're the most gimmicky game company ever, but they
But it's
know
fun.
how they work with their gimmicks so well. Like they go all in on something, man. Even your stupid fucking Joy-Cons, like they go all in on shit, man.
Hey, they made a lot of money by selling Switches and all those Joy-Cons too. Because Bill has like 6 pairs of Joy-Cons.
because they fucking break so easily.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
well, yeah,
fucking
that's too.
stick drift.
Yeah, but also people want different colors. They want to switch out the colors.
I get it.
was a smart
Nintendo
marketing
is
move.
very good, effective at getting you to waste money. Case in point,
Yeah.
like the 5,000 amiibos I have back there.
Oh,
I
I thought you were pointing out all your weeb shit.
no, that's completely different.
Thanks.
That's
I was gonna say Nintendo does that.
that's my
Oh,
own
yeah,
choice.
your biggest weeb shit with the trophy.
Big weeb shit.
With the trophy in the
But,
sunglasses.
Bill's got that big weeb energy.
Oh,
Jeff Gordon, biggest
Connor.
anime
Yeah.
character.
I was gonna say though, transitioning from like we were talking about Nintendo and how they aren't afraid to make weird decisions, like jumping ahead a little bit. The DS.
Oh
Sorry.
yeah, I shit on that thing too.
People thought the DS was going to be the biggest flop, like when it
I
was
love
first
it.
announced.
Jokes on
And
them.
because I remember, because it was DS was coming out, and then PSP was right around the corner, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, PlayStation Portable! Sony's gonna do what they did in consoles and just steamroll everybody." Because Sony was still on top of the world at this point.
Mm.
Yeah.
But people really kind of forgot that Nintendo just has a stranglehold on handheld gaming.
Mm.
They always will, because it's just, no matter what, like the other companies just don't get it. Like even like the Steam Deck, which is a really awesome piece of hardware, it's so niche that like the average casual gamer is not going to be into that.
Yeah, I picked one up and I sold it. And I sold it to build my Mr. FPGA.
Mhm.
Like, because I realized that all I had the Steam Deck for was to play retro shit
Oh
and
yeah.
emulate all the retro games. And then I was like, this thing was a lot of money for it to be an emulation machine. I could probably spend the same amount of money on a Mister, and it's a far better option for covering retro, quote unquote, emulation.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like I shit on the DS as well. Like it was one of those things where I was like, I'm not into this 2-screen bullshit. Like you're not getting me this time, Nintendo. But I don't know. There's something about you're absolutely right. They are the one company that actually innovates. Like the other companies I feel like they innovate with regards to their games. Their hardware, not really. PlayStation 5, actually, the only real innovation that I've seen on the PlayStation 5 is the controller. The controller is really good. Like the DualSense is a fantastic controller, and it has some really cool features, but like it's not that much crazier than the PS4 controller, like in terms of like innovation. It's just a more comfortable controller, and you know the adaptive triggers are really neat. It's a neat thing, but like that's one thing out of the entire console. If you consider what the like Nintendo does or has been doing for the last little, like look at the Wii. holy shit. Like going from GameCube, which was literally just they were competing with Xbox and PS2 and I guess Dreamcast at that time. So it was like it was that time where it was a time of, hey, look how good our graphics are. Or in Nintendo's case, look how fucking good our water is. Because the water looked ridiculously good on the GameCube for some reason. I don't know why. It looks way better on GameCube than it does on any other console.
I always feel so bad for GameCube too, though, because like it legitimately was almost on par with the original Xbox, but so many games that era were made with PS2 in mind. So a lot of games just were kind of hampered by the limitations of the PS2, and you couldn't really see the true prowess of the consoles.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, I don't know. Like, there's something about how Nintendo just goes about making new hardware. And yeah, GameCube to Wii, massive difference where people are like, I don't understand. What is this thing? And then you're just like, just try it. Just try it and see. And then as soon as you pick that thing up and play Wii Sports, like for 2 seconds, you're like, this is unlike anything I've ever played before. Like this is something different.
The Wii was definitely the point in Nintendo's history where they their advertising campaigns at the time were 100% the most effective I think I've seen in a long time. Like everybody remembers the famous like the two Asian men getting out of the smart car and just knocking on the door and being like, "We would like to play," and then just
yes,
they made it look so cool. And I mean, it was at the time. Granted, nowadays you look at it with rose-colored glasses or that perspective, and you're like, yeah, it's not as great as they made it look, but it's still fun. Like
it is. I mean, I play Wii semi regularly.
Oh yeah,
Wii Sports is good.
That's your cardio.
I would argue it's next to Super Mario World. It's the best pack-in since then.
Honestly, yeah, because like I was thinking about this, like because Nintendo the Wii's ad campaign was so good that I think they accidentally like ran themselves into a corner with their ads going forward. Because after that, their ads became so sterile and so just like basic that like the Wii U, like no one knew it was a damn console for the longest time.
Yeah, they thought it was just like an upgrade for the Wii. Like they thought that was just like, oh, you just get a pad for the Wii. Nah, my kids already got the Wii, so I don't need it.
Yeah, but like the Wii U's failure was, I think, the wake up call that Nintendo needed because the Switch comes out and the Switch advertisement is a complete step in the right direction because like everyone knows the iconic like the Joy-Con click sound. Like you hear that and it's like, oh, Nintendo ad. What are we seeing now? And I love that Nintendo's pretty much. Well, it's funny because like Nintendo's like current like direction now is they've just given up on consoles and they're basically like, we're just gonna make handhelds period going forward that you can plug into TVs. And it's like you can see their success because like the Switch literally took their handheld mentality, brought it to the console space, and it was like, hey, it works. Like I legit thought the Switch was going to finally dethrone the PS2 as the best-selling console of all time. It came just short. Like it didn't even beat the DS, but it was close. Like I think if they kept it going for a few more years, it might have made it.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, back to the console. What was it? The 7th console generation we're on?
Well, we were kind of transitioning from the 6th into the 7th because like I mean the Xbox, there's not really a lot to say about it. It's a great system, but Microsoft was so kind of weird during that era.
Yeah, I maybe played original Xbox once in my life, if I'm being honest. Like it's not something that was in my like I didn't have any friends that had one. And by the time I actually did play one, I think I just played like Splinter Cell in a sports game, and I was like, okay, I mean, I don't need this. This is fine. I can do without this thing. And yeah, it just wasn't on my radar at all. But now, looking back, now that I'm trying to achieve the ultimate setup with all these consoles and stuff, I definitely want to get an original Xbox because I have a 360 that I have ready that I'm gonna do a mod on, and I'm gonna have that loaded up with a bunch of stuff. And the thing is, you can play the Xbox games on the 360, but not all of them.
Yeah, it's
Because
very
technically, a lot of those are just getting emulated through the Xbox. It's like a weird injection thing. So there's compatibility issues. So to kind of alleviate that, I would like to just have an original Xbox and have that alongside a 360 and kind of go from there. I really want a crystal one. Those crystal ones are really cool.
yeah. I will say before we wrap up on the sixth generation, I wanted to bring up, have you ever seen the ad for the original Xbox?
I don't think so.
Alex, have you ever seen the ad for the original Xbox by any chance?
I don't know.
Okay. It is one of the most cursed ads I've ever
Oh
seen for a
god.
game
Oh, I
console.
should have seen it then.
Wait, is it the one with the baby?
Yeah, the one where it's the hospital woman and the woman's giving birth, and
Oh.
Oh,
yeah, I remember this now.
Yeah,
Remember
and
that.
she rockets the baby into the
Ah.
sky, and it ages to an old man, and then just lands in his tombstone, and it's like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't know. I don't know who was responsible for that.
but they should be fired.
Oh, game
No.
game ads during the sixth generation were
Oh,
Oh,
weird.
weird.
Like I
dude,
still
the
remember
PS3. Do you remember the PS3
Oh,
ads?
that was
Where it was just
horrifying.
like a white room and people just like doing weird things, and then it would just like cut to just be like PlayStation. And
Or
it's
there
like,
was the one with like the baby like doll just sitting in the room, and it's like all this tech shit was flying around. It's like, what the fuck is
Yeah.
Sony?
like
Like-
how do you expect like consumers to watch that and go, shit, man, I gotta get a PS3 right now? Did you see it? Did you see that commercial where they showed off the fucking weird baby in a room? Like, how was that supposed to sell the console?
Oh, there's
I
a
don't
reason.
understand.
There's a reason the Wii won that generation. Like,
Yeah.
I will say though, like going back, like the wrap up, like the PS2 ad, I still think is one of the most effective ads ever because they didn't even advertise the PS2; they advertised the PS6.
Huh?
The ad for PS2, it was like this dystopian future, and literally the console that they get is like it's this glowing sphere, and it just says PS6 on it.
Really?
Yeah, it is the weirdest ad, but it worked. It somehow worked.
Oh my
And
god.
man.
they put in really small text, also a DVD player.
I don't
Really?
even think they did. I think it was just PlayStation 2. Like the hype for that damn thing alone killed the Dreamcast.
DVDs. No,
Oh,
You
man.
like DVDs?
please. Buy this. You
Uh
can play the games later.
yeah, Gen 7 though, that was a weird time to be a gamer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking PS3.
Still was never the same. What?
PS3 with what else did we have? PS3, Xbox 360,
Wii.
the Wii.
Wee.
Was there anything else? Was there any like weird outlier at that time? I'm just
There
trying
was-
to think.
It was the Zebo, if you want to count the Zebo.
Oh, fuck is the Zebo?
It was some like weird like I think it was like a South American console. It was one of those weird discount like mobile phone weird things.
Oh,
Nemo.
well, in this
Why
console
did-
generation, it was the first time that I owned all three.
I didn't own a 360 until after it was discontinued, but I did have a PS3 and Wii for most of it.
Yep. The PS. So funny enough, my wife, when her and I first started dating, I think it was like our first or second Christmas together. She was like, what should we do for Christmas gifts this year? I was like, you want to go half on a PS3? And then she was like, sure. I was like, all right. So we march over, we go grab our PS3, and I picked up Burnout Paradise, Resistance 2, and I think Dead Space. I think
Oh,
that
so
was-
you got a PS3 when there was games for it.
Yes, I did. And then not long after that, Fallout 3.
Oh,
So
nice.
like, yeah, my library of PS3 was like pretty good right out of the gate.
See, for us, like, so we had the Wii. Me and Alex shared the Wii,
Yes.
And then I had a PS3. And I remember for the PS3, because I got it at launch, there was fuck all to play for it. Because my game selection was Motorstorm, which was the pack-in, good
It
game.
was not bad.
Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga,
Mm,
fine game, but doesn't show off the system at all.
no,
And Sonic 06.
I thought you also
that was a
Little Big
launch
Planet.
game.
It was right at the launch window because you got to remember the 360 was a year early.
Oh yeah, I kind of forgot about that. That's a
Didn't
weird
you also?
detail.
I thought you also had Little Big Planet.
No, that wasn't until like 2008. That was way
It
later
was.
down the.
I thought you
Now
had that from the beginning. Yeah.
that was around the point where the PS3 finally started getting games that were like worth a
That's
damn.
right. Things
Yep.
actually happened.
Yeah, like by the time I got mine, like within the same year that I had mine, that's when like I got Uncharted, I got Fallout 3, I got fucking Little Big Planet, I got like so many crazy games were starting to come out, and I was like, oh, this is the obvious choice for me because at the time, like Gears, I had a buddy that had a 360 and he had like Gears of War and stuff like that, and he was pretty into it, and he had showed it to me, and like I played it, and I was like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like there's more on the PS3 right now that I can't get on the 360 that I'd rather play. Because, dude, I love those Resistance games.
Oh yeah,
Like, Resistance 2 blew my mind. And it was funny because we get home and I'm like, what is this port for? Like, what is this thing? An HDMI. That was the first time I ever had to buy an HDMI because I was like, what is this even? And then I look on the back of my TV. And I didn't even realize, like, I had a flat screen TV, and I was like, "Oh, that's what this thing is for." And I plugged it in. Holy shit, this looks crazy.
I still had a CRT for like the longest time when I first had my PS3, so I was plugging it in with the old white and yellows in the front. And I never really got the hype for like the PS3's graphics at the first because I was like, I don't get it. Like, it doesn't look that much better. Granted, I was playing Sonic 06 and Lego Star Wars, so
yeah.
But then we finally got the HD TVs, and I like discovered HDMI. And the second I plugged it in and turned it on, like that, everything was so clear, and I was like, holy.
Yeah, it was wild to see that for the first time. And I remember just like the first little bit in Resistance, like I remember there was a hallway and like some water and like there was like a cable like swinging back and forth, and I was like, this looks insane. Holy shit. Like, it was blowing my mind. Like, it was the first time because like, yeah, from PS1 to PS2, it was, at launch, it was pretty like, okay, yeah, this looks pretty good. But like, I feel like the jump from PS2 to PS3 was like, okay, we're really doing something with the graphics now.
Oh yeah. Like, to me, I'm not gonna lie though, like being an RPG guy, it must have been so confusing to be a Sony guy at first because like we had like nothing, and meanwhile the 360 has Lost Odyssey, Blue Dragon, Tales of Vesperia, and it's like, wait a minute, did I make the wrong
what's going on here?
Like, it's like, oh no. Eventually it flipped, but I have to say though, the Wii was like the weird outlier just in the background during this generation.
I know,
because
they just kept pumping crazy games out, like, and like there would be games that wouldn't even really have a lot of advertising, or like you wouldn't really hear much about them, and then years later you'd be like, wait, so the last story, why did this get under my radar? Like, why, how did I miss this? And like, there's like, I mean, the last few like big RPGs on the Wii were incredible. Like Xenoblade Chronicles definitely didn't feel like it should have been on the Wii. Like that, for what it was worth, was much more ahead of its time, in my opinion.
I still remember early on too, like this was like the real. So, fun fact: this was me and Alex's first Nintendo console like ever.
The Wii?
Yeah, because we were Sony people like the entire time.
Yeah.
What's funny though is like I still remember hooking up the Wii, and like I remember like we spent hours just making knees for like the first.
I know. Yeah.
First
like, there's so much to like explore on the
abominations.
Wii.
Oh yeah, it got to a point where I've just realized Alex has been adding a really to her thing every progressively.
You just noticed that.
Okay. I was gonna say though, like, I remember like the making me's. Like, we made some of the most cursed abominations in that thing. Like, Alec, I think we had a goal. Like, we were like, how much worse can we make these things look like? They like
Yeah.
it's like just like these weird like
because you
noodle
start
men.
making normal ones of like you and like your friends and family, and you make the normal ones, and then you're like, well, I ran out of people to make, so now I'm just gonna make weird shit. Yep. Just like The Sims. You start out, you make your normal Sims, and eventually you get down to that diabolical place where you just start making cars.
We don't gotta bring the Sims into this, man. Leave
Yeah,
this.
we do.
leave the
Yeah, we
Sims
do.
Um, I still remember Wii Sports though, the first time playing that, and just like I remember like you'd have like the people that would actually try to play tennis like tennis, and then you'd have like the one like psychopath in the corner
Flail.
like doing this, and it's just like yeah.
Yeah,
No.
I used to get mad when I would have people come over and I'd be like, "You got to try this fucking WarioWare game. This is absolutely insane." And you know, there'd be ones where it's like you got to like jump rope or whatever, and you like hold the Wiimote above your head, and you get these lazy fucks come over and they're like, "I could just fucking do this shit." And it's like, yeah, you can get out of my house. Is what you can do because we're gonna
Get
play
out.
video games here. Yeah, get out of my house.
I still remember like when Mario Kart Wii came out, and it was like the steering wheels, which were just a piece of
Oh
plastic.
my god, I bought into that so hard too. I was like, "Fuck yeah, I get the steering wheel. Don't I gotta plug it into anything? You just hold it in front of your face." And I was like, "Wow, this is dog shit. This is
Yeah.
real dog shit right here."
I remember real fast. I realized, oh, you can just. Well, at first I realized, oh, the wheel's pointless. So now you can just hold the Wiimote, and that's so much more comfortable. But then
Yeah.
you realize, like 3 minutes later, you're like, oh wait, you can just plug a GameCube controller in and just play like a normal person.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, there was a lot of weird peripherals on those generations, like between the Kinect and like the Wii Fit.
The Wii Fit.
Jesus Christ.
You know what I used to call Wii Fit? How to ruin your self confidence with one simple game.
Yeah,
It's like literally.
The worst part
It was.
is when it takes your me and it like puts you on the scale and goes, and it makes your me super
Yeah,
fat.
it's like
you're
it does-
obese.
Yeah, like if your like you can be like rail thin, but if your BMI is weird, it just it's like you're in danger of being overweight, and it's just like your Wii just goes boom, and it's like
Yeah,
great.
they see that's the thing though, like that translates poorly from the Japanese culture where they don't give a shit. They'll be like, "You're fat. You need to lose weight.
Well, yeah.
Eat healthy."
Yep.
Over here, you say that, and people are like, "I just try to live my best life, man. Come on."
See, it's so funny to me though, because they tried so hard with Wii Fit, and I mean, I give them credit. Like they were trying to do something to make people be healthier and also game at the same time. But like it literally took them a couple of years to just create this thing, and like this was
the Ring
genius.
Fit.
Yeah,
The Ring Fit. I have not used that
Amazing.
before, but I've heard that it's not only very fun to play, like the game itself, but you actually like sweat your fucking ass off when you're doing it.
Well, I mean, you're playing an RPG with a fucking Pilates ring, so you're like,
That's the thing, like it's an actual like workout item versus like a pad. You go, okay, step up, step down, step. I remember that from
like you're literally you'll be fighting bosses by doing like ab crunches and shit, and like
Yeah, it's awesome. Like
doing
that's
planks. Like,
yep.
this
I love
was genius. I remember like because this came out 2020. Like these things were like harder to find than crack at the time.
Oh
because
yeah.
everybody was hoarding the damn because it was the only way anyone could exercise at that point.
Yep. Yeah, again, man, Nintendo's just always coming out with like all their stuff is not good. Like there's definitely a lot of misses there, but like I feel like none of the other companies are really like trying to do gimmicks that work and not just like, hey, look at my new fucking webcam that you can play like a game on. That's not good.
I mean, Sony's doing PSVR, which I mean that's fine. I'm not a huge VR guy.
So here's the thing. I do really like VR.
Mhm.
I have an Oculus. I had a PSVR 1. I want to get a PSVR 2 at some point. But I still think, even though the like VR has been out for a while now,
Mhm.
it's still very niche.
Yeah, like So when PSVR original came out, Jesus Christ, Alex.
What?
If you guys see in the video version me just like my face just like completely fall at random points, it's because I
I didn't
noticed
do
Alex's
anything.
goddamn caption down there.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
I was gonna say though, like my first VR experience, this was back in, I think the original PSVR was like 2016, 17-ish, I want to say, whenever the original PSVR came out. I went to a Best Buy and they had a demo kiosk for the PSVR, and I was working night shift at the time, so it was like right before when I was working, and I was just chilling in the Best Buy, so I went to go try it out, and I remember vividly the game selection was pretty mediocre. It was like a bunch of like weird VR style games, but then they had Resident Evil 7 as an option. So of course I had to try Resident Evil 7, and I played it for about 10 minutes.
And then you shit your entire pan.
I took the helmet off. I looked at the guy and said, "That's really cool, but fuck that." And I was like, never again.
I remember when they were showcasing the PSVR, like behind closed doors, and there was a lot of reports coming back. I think somebody from IGN may have even gotten to try it, and it was just called the kitchen demo, and people were losing their fucking minds over this thing. And they were saying how scary it was. Then finally, the kitchen demo drops for PSVR. And then it is revealed that the kitchen demo is actually Resident Evil 7.
Yes.
That's what that was. It was Resident Evil 7. And people were like, wait. We're getting Resident Evil in VR? Is that what you're saying? Because that whole demo was absolutely terrifying. I mean, by today's standards, I could probably get through that no problem. Somebody that's not used to VR though would definitely like have a rough time with that thing.
Well, also because Resident Evil 7 was like legitimately the first scary Resident Evil in God knows how long.
Yeah, which I mean, this is super off topic, but I seen that they're bringing back a lot of the team that worked on 7 to do 9.
Oh,
so
cool.
I guess we're getting scary Resident Evil again. Finally.
Nice.
8 was good, but it wasn't scary.
8 was like the Resident Evil 2 compared to like Resident Evil 1, where it was a lot more action heavy.
Yeah, for sure.
So looking at the time, looks like we're just about to kind of hit where we normally cut off. I figure we've covered a good amount of 7th gen, and I'm sure we'll revisit this again for a part 3 at some point, because we go very off the rails at times. And also I know Alex is still suffering from jet lag, so I don't want to kill her too much today.
Yeah, I'm tired.
But this was a fun talk. We're definitely going to revisit this, and of course when we eventually do the N64 revisited special, we'll have the entire gang together for a roundtable seance, I guess you could say.
Jesus.
But before we sign off, Gerry, do you want to shout out all your stuff again?
Sure. You can get me on Super Ghost Radio, where I host, and then I have my 2 co-hosts, Greg and Beth, joining me for just a grab bag of stuff each episode. Then there's Aaron and I on Retro Rehab, talking about all things retro. And also I am co-host on SuperPod Saga. And you can find all of those shows on the superpodnetwork.com.
Yep, and you can also find all of our shows on the superpodnetwork.com.
Get the hell out of here.
Oh, right? It's crazy. We can also
When did this happen?
When you and Aaron just came up with an idea one day, and then Aaron messages me at work and he's like, "You want to join our network?" And I'm like, "Aaron, okay. When did this happen?"
I just randomly was like, what if we had like a full network of all like the podcast homies? And he was like, "Dude, we could do this." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I was just like talking out loud, but I guess this is a possibility. And then within like an hour, he was like, "Check out this website." And I'm like, "What the okay?" So, and then he's like, "And Bill's on, and these guys are on, and this one's on." And I was like, all right, I guess we're a network now.
Yeah. Which is funny because this was a topic me and you had discussed multiple times like
Yes.
years ago, and it just never went anywhere. And then finally we got someone like Aaron who will just like make it, and then like I love the fact that Aaron made the thing, and then like he just left us kind of all to figure it out. And then me and,
Like, good luck.
well, it's funny because Aaron like made the bones, and then me and Thrak were like, "Ooh, you could do this cool stuff," and then Aaron's like, "That's cool," and then he's like, "I'm copying this now." Um, But yeah, shout out to everyone else on that network as well, like the guys over at Novel Console, Bar Silence, Find Time, Gaming Together, Friday Night Gamecast, Remember 64, The Elder Trolls. I believe that's everybody. I don't think I forgot anybody this time.
There's
Water bottle facts.
there's some new things in the pipe as well that
Nice.
we'll talk about that off camera.
Yes, and I'd also like to give Gerry another shout out because for those who haven't read the description to our episodes, he also did our theme song for this podcast
Hey,
that we've had since the beginning of season 4, which is very nice.
hell yeah!
Mhm.
Shout
Thank
out to that. I have the link to your SoundCloud page down in the thing, so if anyone else wants to reach out, that is always an
Yeah, at
option.
some point I'm gonna like get myself properly set up so that I can actually have some sort of a service where I can offer like themes and stuff like that. But yeah, if you anybody out there listening, if you ever want a theme made like a song, I've done this podcast theme. I've done Super Ghost, Retro Rehab. I've also done Above the Ring. I've also done Tommy's new one. Tommy's
Oh,
Ride
nice.
Along.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, I forgot about Tommy.
Yeah,
Sorry, Tommy.
poor Tommy. R.I.P. Tommy.
His AI crashed again.
Yeah.
All right. But once again, guys, thanks for joining us on Gaming and Collecting. You can find all of our stuff at my brain just broke. You can find us on every major pod. You see, I'm waiting for Alex to interrupt me every 3 seconds, but she's being good right now.
Oh well, if you say so, I can definitely
No.
interrupt. I was gonna ask if you could make me an intro song for my one-time podcast of Water Bottle Facts. It's just like the sound of like pressing 50 piano keys at once. Just a big train wreck.
I don't think I want to do that.
So you send it to her and you're like, here you go, and it's just the Buck Bumble theme.
Yeah.
I'm leaving.
Bye, Alex.
Goodbye.
As she does that, what I'd like to say once again, guys, you can find us on
No,
all of the major podcast
no.
platforms, particularly Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and you can find all of our links at Linktree/The Barbrew Games and at the SuperPod Network. And with that,
I tapped it out to the top.
and on that note, we'll see you guys all later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So long.